All of the things that we're doing, nobody's ever seen anything like it. And, Elon's upset because we took the EV mandate and, which was a lot of money for electric vehicles. And, they're having a hard time, the electric vehicles, and they want us to pay billions of dollars in subsidy. And, Elon knew this from the beginning. He knew it for a long time ago. That's been in there. I would say, JD, that hasn't changed. That's been right from the beginning. Mr. Secretary, that hasn't changed at all, right from the beginning. But I know that it disturbed him.
One thing people have to realize about the so-called big, beautiful bill is that it's a reconciliation bill. And that matters because under Senate rules, you cannot cut discretionary spending in a reconciliation bill. You can only touch mandatory spending, things like entitlements, things like Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security, and yes, subsidies. Now, here's where it gets interesting. Elon Musk knows this. He's not clueless. He's one of the richest, most connected men on the planet. So why are his so-called Doge cuts missing from the bill? Simple. They legally can't be included here. This is why the White House and Congress are cooking up a second recessions package to deal with those. So why is Elon acting brand new about this? He knows. We know he knows, but suddenly he doesn't. To me, something here smells a bit fishy, and I'm not the only one noticing. Now, Trump is calling it out. He says Elon Musk is mad because this big, beautiful bill kills the EV tax credits. The $7,500 federal handout that makes buying a Tesla or any electric vehicle more affordable. But here's the kicker. That $7,500 doesn't come out of thin air. No, it comes from you, the taxpayer. You're subsidizing someone else's luxury purchase. And Trump's bill, it scraps that nonsense. So, of course, Elon fired back with a tweet. He said, and I quote, "Whatever. Keep the EV and solar incentive cuts in the bill, even though no oil and gas subsidies are touched. Very unfair. But ditch the mountain of disgusting pork." Now let's pause for a second. What is pork in political terms? It's wasteful spending. It's pet projects. It's unnecessary add-ons that get snuck into bills to buy votes. And Elon's not wrong. Pork is real and it's everywhere. But let's be honest. Every bill has trade-offs. There is no perfect legislation. None. Now, Elon says you either get big and ugly or slim and beautiful. Elon tried to be cute here. He tried to be clever. But the truth is what Thomas Sowell said. There are no solutions, only trade-offs. Politics is compromise. You're always giving something to get something. Now let's actually break down what's inside the bill. No drama, just data. The bill cuts $1.7 trillion in mandatory spending over 10 years. That's not small potatoes. And a huge chunk of that comes from ending entitlements for illegal aliens. Stuff like Medicaid. If this passes, no more free healthcare for undocumented individuals. That stops immediately. It also funds the completion of the border wall, a critical step if we're ever going to get control of who's coming into this country and how. You can't have a house with open doors and call it safe. Now ask yourself, who does that benefit? Not the lobbyists, not the donors. It helps American taxpayers. But there's more in this bill, and this part has been flying under the radar. We're talking about no tax on tips policy. That's huge for service workers. That's huge for waiters and bartenders and hairstylists and the folks that actually keep this economy moving but get penalized for it every April. Then there's no tax on Social Security for seniors and no tax on overtime pay. That means if you work late to make ends meet, you keep more of your money, not Uncle Sam. On top of that, seniors will get a special tax credit, a way to actually write off their Social Security income. That's not just smart policy, that's respect for the people who built this country. And here's what's wild. Elon Musk has known all of this for months, maybe even before Trump won. He is a billionaire, guys. He's not sitting around in the dark. He's got legal teams. He's got policy advisors, access to every corner of Washington. So why now? Why this sudden concern? Sure seems convenient. And that's all I'll say. The timing, curious. The outrage, selective. And the motivation, well, that's where things get murky.
Elon and I had a great relationship. I don't know if we will anymore. I was surprised because you were here. Everybody in this room practically was here as we had a wonderful send-off. He said wonderful things about me. You couldn't have nicer. Said the best things. He's worn the hat. Trump was right about everything. And I am right about the great, big, beautiful bill. We call it a great, big, beautiful bill because that's what it is. And again, biggest tax cuts in history, biggest economic development moves anywhere. We've never done anything like it. Business is spurred. And I don't know if you've seen the numbers, but the numbers came out. Even the CBO, which is run by Democrats, said that we're going to be doing, I'd like you to discuss it, the 2.8 trillion, that CBO. This is a group of people that are Democrats. They're very hostile to us. They just came out with phenomenal numbers, what it does. You want to mention that, Scott?
Yes, sir. So what we've seen is we keep hearing from the CBO that there's going to be a large deficit from the bill, which we disagree with, but using the CBO scoring, they came out and scored the tariff revenue. We think it'll be the minimum of 2.8 trillion over the 10-year window, which actually puts the bill in surplus if you include the tariff revenue, which they won't do.
It gives you a tremendous surplus, but we're not allowed to use that. For some reason, they say scoring. Nobody knows what scoring means. Maybe a couple of people, but nobody. Somebody sits in the background. They say, well, we're not going to allow that. They're not allowing other things that we have that are tremendously profitable for our country. But if you saw the other day, CNBC, they came out with numbers, and the people on the show, very good people. I've watched them for a long time. They couldn't believe the numbers, how good they are. The numbers were incredible. And that was personal income and also very low inflation. We have very low inflation. We're down to 2% now, and maybe even lower than that. And when I took it over, it was a mess. Remember, we had the worst inflation probably in the history of our country. They say 48 years, but let's say I think it's worse than that. So we had the worst inflation in the history of our country under the Biden administration. Now we're down to a beautiful number, 2%. You'd actually like to keep it there. Better than zero is 2%. It's going down maybe to 1, and 1% is like perfect. That's perfect. You don't want to have zero for certain reasons that nobody is very interested to listen to. But we have almost perfect inflation. Grocery prices are down. Everything. Remember eggs? We weren't going to buy another egg for the next 20 years. They were so expensive, right? Remember? You guys all hit me about eggs. Eggs have come down 400%. Everybody has eggs now. They're having eggs for breakfast again. But I'm very disappointed because Elon knew the inner workings of this bill better than almost anybody sitting here, better than you people. He knew everything about it. He had no problem with it. All of a sudden he had a problem, and he only developed the problem when he found out that we're going to have to cut the EV mandate, because that's billions and billions of dollars, and it really is unfair. We want to have cars of all types. Electric, we want to have electric, but we want to have a gasoline, combustion. We want to have different. We want to have hybrids. We want to have we want to be able to sell everything. And when that was cut, and Congress wanted to cut it, he became a little bit different, and I can understand that, but he knew every aspect of this bill. He knew it better than almost anybody, and he never had a problem until right after he left. And if you saw the statements he made about me, which I'm sure you can get very easily, it's very fresh on tape, he said the most beautiful things about me. And he hasn't said bad about me personally, but I'm sure that'll be next. But I'm very disappointed in Elon. I've helped Elon a lot.
Mr. President, I just want to clarify, did he raise any of these concerns with you privately before he raised them publicly? And this is the guy you put in charge of cutting spending. Should people not take him seriously about spending now? Are you saying this is all sour grapes?
No, he worked hard and he did a good job. And I'll be honest, I think he misses the place. I think he got out there and all of a sudden he wasn't in this beautiful Oval Office, and he's got nice offices too. But there's something about this one. I was telling the Chancellor, this is where it is. People come in here, even from Germany. They come in and they walk into the Oval Office, and it's just a special place. It's, World War I, it started and it ended here, and World War II, and so many other things. Everything big comes right from this beautiful space. It's now much more beautiful than it was 6 months ago. A lot of good things are happening in this room. And I'll tell you, he's not the first. People leave my administration and they love us. And then at some point they miss it so badly, and some of them embrace it and some of them actually become hostile. I don't know what it is. It's sort of Trump derangement syndrome, I guess they call it, but we have it with others too. They leave and they wake up in the morning and the glamour's gone, the whole world is different, and they become hostile. I don't know what it is. Someday you'll write a book about it and you'll let us know.
Here's where the real debate begins. Should this bill cut even more? Or maybe the better question is, can it cut more without raising the deficit? Because we have to be clear about this. The only way to do that is to go after the big dogs, Social Security and Medicare. Not just benefits going to illegal migrants, but I'm talking about cuts to American citizens. But Trump has made it clear he won't go there, and I respect that. Now, here's another possibility, and it's not really just a conspiracy, or maybe you might think it is a conspiracy, but it's just strategy talk. What if this whole Elon versus Trump thing is just theater? A carefully crafted play, a tag team game to move the needle behind the scenes. Could be. We don't know yet. And sometimes you just have to sit back and wait and see, have a wait and see attitude. But I'll tell you what doesn't help. Listening to a bunch of talking heads on cable news, folks that have never built a business, never met a payroll, never touched a real policy, yet suddenly they're experts on trillion-dollar legislation. Now, I'm not claiming that I have all the answers either. But what I do know from life experience, from a lifetime of turning wrenches and building things from the ground up, if you put something together wrong the first time, you're gonna have to pay 5 times more to fix it later. America has been misbuilt. It's been run into the ground. And now, if we're going to fix it for real, it's gonna cost. Because you can't cut corners when there are no corners left to cut. Anyway, that's it for today. Let me know what you think down in the comments. And if you appreciate Real Talk, like, subscribe, and share this video. I am Wolf Kage, and this was Wolf Kage Los Angeles. And until the next time, peace.